Okay, good morning. We will start. First tutorial will start next week. Okay, starting from Tuesday. On Monday there are three classes. So we decided to do it this way instead of delaying it. Why not next week for the Monday classes? During the Monday classes, you are free to go any classes, tutorial groups. So in the Luminous, you can go to the timetable to see other locations of the other tutorial groups. If there's an overflow or whatever, then go to the next group. Okay, so next week is a more free for all for the tutorials. So last week I mentioned encryption. Encryption is a first step towards security. And the definition, encryption take a secret key and a plain text, encrypt it, produce what we call ciphertext. The decryption algorithm take the ciphertext and the secret key, decrypt it, and get the plain text. Okay? The secret key is secret and has to be sent from the encryptor to the decryptor in a secure way through some means. Okay? But the eavesdropper, any attacker may able to sniff, sometimes call it sniff, S-N-I-F-F, okay, or eavesdrop, and obtain the ciphertext. Okay? So by this application, you can see that we require key to be short, and then the ciphertext can be of arbitrary length. Okay? And we also have looked at the two schemes, and I say that they are not secure, only appear in classical and in storybooks. Okay? But these two schemes, the substitution and permutation cipher, still shape or guide the design of modern cipher. The modern cipher is used by interchangeably. They are not interactively. We apply substitution, then permutation, substitution, permutation, substitution, permutation for many rounds. Okay. For example, the AES and DES. Okay. And I also mentioned that in fact there is a very simple scheme that can be proved to be secure. Unbreakable. Okay, so that is a one-time hex. Okay, so this is a one-time hex. One-time hex, very simple. Take the plain text. Okay, express that in bit forms. Take the key, also represented as bits of the same length. Then the ciphertext, we just use the XOR operations. XOR operation, then you get the ciphertext. And the decryption, repeat the process, you take the ciphertext, and the key XOR them, you get the plain text. Okay. You look at the XOR operation, 0, 1, you get 1, 0, 1, you get 1, 0, 0, get 0, 1, 1, get 0. You look at it, mathematically, this is actually addition modulo 2. Okay? 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 modulo 2 will get you 0. Right. So mathematically, you can return it as XOR as A XOR B the same as A plus B modulo 2. Okay. So you may read in some other place, they describe one-time hex differently. They describe it as addition. Okay, they say that this plus this modulo any other numbers. Okay, not necessary to be 3 and 4. Okay, what is nice about one-time hex, you can be of any modulo. Okay, let's say 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then why it work? So this is a magic part of the XOR. You take this encryption, encrypted XOR K, encrypted. You will decrypt it again. It's XOR K. You can shift it around. Then it becomes XOR 0. It becomes X. Okay. If you view it as addition, this decryption is actually referred to subtraction. Because in the XOR modulo 2, addition is same as subtraction. It just happens to be like that. In any other groups, okay,
let's say you take the modulus 9 or modulo 26, okay, this will be a subtraction. Then it's very clear that you encrypt, decrypt, you get back the same thing. Okay, you plus k minus k, that will become x. Right? Yeah. And also mentioned that this look very meaningless because the key is the same length as the plain text. Okay. So I just now I mentioned, right, in encryption, the key had to be securely sent to the receiver. Okay. If the key is of the same length of the plain text, then why not we just send the plain text over, right? Why not to repeat this process? But yet, there's some application is that is the key can be established before the plain text appears. The key can be established before you know the message to be encrypted. Okay. In such a case, you can use one-time pad. In fact, has been used in the during World War I. Okay. Yeah, and this is the secret key that bring by the spy. Okay, they bring the key. Okay, and why encryption becomes so important during the more modern time and then during World War II? Because at that time they started to send message over the air using telegram. Okay, using telegram, and they can tap the cable and so on. Okay, so message being sent over, okay, where the adversary can tap it. Okay. So this is the story. Okay, the story. I can't tell the story, so let me tell you. So then look at the security of one-time pad. I mentioned that it's unbreakable. Okay, so give you a sense of what you mean by unbreakable. Okay, suppose you have a pair of plain text. You are attacker. You intercept something. You intercept the ciphertext. You know that this is a ciphertext of a movie. Do I use an example of movie? Okay. Suppose this is a movie. Okay, 7 GB movie. It's encrypted using one-time pad. Okay, and now, assuming that you have unlimited computing power, you can exhaustively search all the key. Okay, if you do that, will you? Okay, sorry. Let me repeat again. Okay, to get a feeling of why this is secure, unbreakable, consider the non-plain text attacks. Non-plain text attacks means that you have the plain text and the ciphertext. And then you want to derive the key. Okay, so in the one-time pad, given the plain text and the ciphertext, can you derive the key? Yes, very easily. You just take the plain text, XOR the ciphertext, you get the key. But there's no use. Okay, because this key is only used once. Then no one will going to use it again. Okay, so this is that's why it's have a sense it doesn't work. Okay. And exhaustive search also doesn't work on one-time pad. So this comes to the next example I wrote here. So suppose you are an attacker, you intercept a 7 GB ciphertext, and you know that this is a movie, JPEG file, MPEG file. Okay. So now using exhaustive search, we mentioned last time, the way you do it is you try all possible key, okay, to decrypt it. If it's a wrong key, you decrypt to some random things that cannot be played as a movie. If it's a correct key, then it can be played as a movie. Right? Okay, so you keep trying until you get the key that can decrypt it, and then that is the correct key. Right? So this is exhaustive search. Exhaustive search. Okay. Now, if you want to apply the exhaustive search on one-time pad, will it work? It will not work. Okay. You will try it. You found that this 7 GB movie can be decrypted to any movie you like. Okay, can be decrypted to what's the most popular movie right on them. Okay, let's say okay, use my time. Okay, Terminator. Okay, it can be decrypted to Terminator. It can be decrypted to Star Wars, which is made before you born. Okay, and decrypted to the new Star Wars. Okay. Because for any movie here, there is a corresponding key, right? Okay. So even you use exhaustive search, you're not able to Okay, fine. So now, for many years, people know that it's unbreakable in some sense. The cryptographer are unable to mathematically quantify it or formulate it to say that how do I define unbreakable? Okay. And then Shannon, the guy who started the information theory, okay, come up with a notion called perfect secrecy. Okay. So the formulation of a perfect secrecy, we'll not do it here. Okay, I just roughly tell you what it is. Okay, if you want to do it, you can go to 4236. Okay, roughly, okay, there's an optional here. Okay, optional here. Roughly what he captured in the formulation is that there is a probability distribution capturing the knowledge of the attacker of the plain text before he sees the ciphertext. Okay, so attacker want to guess what is the plain text. He has some knowledge, right, of what is the ciphertext. So this knowledge is modeled or formulated as a probability distribution. Okay. This is a conditional probability. This conditional probability is after the attacker seen the ciphertext, already. After he seen the ciphertext, oh, this is additional information. I may want to change my knowledge about what the plain text is. Okay, so this is the knowledge the attacker has after he has seen the ciphertext, and this must be the same. If this is the same, then it's perfect secrecy. Fine. Okay, so this is a rough notion, and just give an example. Suppose that somehow you have C is a ciphertext of the Oscar winner, okay, and the Oscar go to blah 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 blah. Okay, this plain text is encrypted using a key. Okay, using a key encrypted. Then you are Bob. Let's say you are Bob. Okay, well you gather all the information from the source. You go to Google. You interview a few people. You feel that from the information you guess likely Alice in the crypto land. At first I put Alice in the land. Okay. Now Alice in the crypto land. Okay. Have the 42 chances of winning. Okay, this number is very important to you because assuming Bob is a bad guy, you is a bad guy, you go to those underground betting thing, right? So every percentage is very important. Okay, you decide what is the payoff, right? So after Bob gather all this information, Bob think that 42%, okay, Alice in the land. Okay, so Bob is very happy. Okay. But after some time, Bob happened to intercept this ciphertext. Okay, Bob intercept the ciphertext. Okay, he intercept the ciphertext and he knows that this ciphertext, plain text is, and the Oscar go to blah 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 blah. He want to know what is this. Okay, after Bob intercepted this ciphertext give him additional information. Now, can he use this additional information to improve his odds, okay, to improve his guess? Okay. So if the encryption scheme is secure, he should not able to improve his guess. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, so if it's secure, then he's not able to. Now, suppose the Bob have a supercomputer, very powerful, and Zoffi search all the keys. Will he able to improve his odds? Yes, okay, in some sense. If this is encrypted using some AES, which I'm going to explain later, he can try all possible keys and then decrypt to see whether it's English sentence. The first few is and the Oscar go to, okay? Then he will able to decrypt it. After he decrypt it, he will improve his guess to 100% correct. Okay? Yeah. So, but this is a traditional encryption scheme. Okay? Using exhaustive search, you can break it. Okay. But if this is encrypted using one-time text, even if Bob have a supercomputer, he's not able to get any information. Fine? So this is one-time text. Okay. Fine? So now we talk about modern cipher. Modern cipher usually refer to those that use computer to encrypt and decrypt. Okay. So famous one RC4, DCS, DES, A5, AES, RSA. Okay, this modern cipher. So the design of modern cipher, okay, is take into consideration of known plaintext attacks. They already know that known plaintext attack is very important that to be considered, and frequency analysis and many other known attacks. Okay, it's designed very secure. It's designed to be so that the design goal is to the extent that if attacker want to find the key, the only way to do it is by exhaustive search. Okay, it's designed to be like that. Okay, the design goal. Design goal is that the only way to break it is to exhaustive search. Okay, and this is a famous one, DS, and the 4 listed here all broken. Okay, I will tell story later. Okay, but AES is secure and well accepted nowadays. In fact, it's considered type 1 by NSA. NSA is an agency in US, National Security Agency. Okay. Type 1 means that NSA is a guideline. The guideline gives to all the government agency to say that he can use to encrypt all top secrets, okay, except mission critical document. Mission critical, I believe it means war or something. Okay, so the US government agency can use AES to encrypt any confidential and secret document. So let's talk about the exhaustive search. Okay, so if the key length is 32 bits, then how many keys? 2 raised to the power of 32. Okay, so exhaustive search, you try all possible key will be 2 raised to the power of 32 times to do it. Okay, but on average, okay, sometimes will write on average actually 2 raised to the power of 31. It's not very important, but I just missed by 1. That means that if you want to keep trying, because you know that it's one of the 2 raised to the power of 32, you start from here. Okay, on average you will stop somewhere in the middle, right? You will not have to exhaust all of them. Okay, so on average you will be half. So that's why over here I said on average 2 raised to the power of 31. Half of 2 raised to the power of 32 is 2 raised to the power of 31. Okay, not 2 raised to the power of not 2 raised to the power of 16. Okay, half. Okay, okay. So now we can quantify the encryption scheme by the length key. Okay. So if a scheme is 64 bits and a scheme is 54 bits, of course A is more secure. Fine. Okay. Later on we'll do RSA. RSA length is 1,000 bits or 2,000 bits. Okay, 2,000 bits. Okay, why? Because the way to attack RSA is not by exhaustive search. There's some smart algorithm. So they believe, so now for RSA we will try to convert to say that 2,000 bits is equivalent to how many bits, okay, when you do it in exhaustive search. Okay. So now how many bits is secure? Okay, now how many bits is sufficient? Should it be 32, 64, 1,000, or 2,000? How many? Right? So there is a guideline. Okay, go to RIST. This one RIST. NIST. Recommend NIST is a standard body in the US. Okay, they give a lot of standard on encryption scheme. Okay, so they give a guideline. You go read it. The guideline will say that if your scheme want to be secure until 2030, this is a bit. You want to beyond 2030, this is the number of bits. Okay. What would you mean by that? Because suppose you encrypt something, and then you think that the information in the thing that you encrypted will not be important or useful after 2030, and you use this number of bit size. Right? Why? Because the technology right now is this. 2030, the computer will be faster. Okay, it may not able to break now, but 2030, beyond 2030, you may able to break it. Okay, before 2030, you will not able to break it. Right. So he give two numbers. Okay, one is before 2030 and one beyond 2030. Okay, for those beyond 2030, if I remember correctly, is 256 bit for AES, 102 for up to 2030 is 128 bits. Okay, if I remember correctly, okay, around that. Okay. For RSA is to be beyond is 2000 bits, 2048 bits. Okay, for RSA. So let's look at the DES. Okay, DES was designed in 1977. Okay, it was designed during the Cold War times. Okay, so security is very important, national security. So it's designed that so that the government can break it, government can break it, but normal people cannot break it. Okay, so the number of key is 56 bits. Okay, the 56 bit at that time in the 70s was a big number. You cannot have exhaustive search, but very fast people try to use distributed computing to break it. Distributed computing means that one machine I take some time by 1,000 machines, then I can have a speed out of 1,000. Okay. This was tested on by the RSA. RSA is a lab. Is a name of a RSA is the name of 3 persons. It's also an algorithm. It's also a company, RSA lab, and it's also a conference. Okay, RSA conference. Okay, some of you probably is already in the security field for some time. You know that there's a very famous important conferences, security conferences called RSA conference. Okay, in San Francisco, and they are franchise in Singapore, Japan. Okay, but main one is in San Francisco. I went there once, quite interesting. Have you watched a documentary, the Mythbuster? There's this guy running around from Hollywood, they try to bust all the myth. Okay? So I went there, then they really get these two guys to perform something. How to fake a real encryption scheme. Okay, quite interesting. And then you heard the CEO of Viber. Okay, anyway, RSA organized this contest. RSA organized this contest for anyone to break. Okay, so the contest is they give a cyber test of this, then someone take it, break it, so you can break it. Okay. One more story to tell. One of my friends, okay, I was a TA. I was quite old actually. I was TA in NUS many years ago. Then one of the TA saw that there's a lot of machine around. So at night he also participated in this contest. Okay. It's more like doing a Bitcoin, but now he participates in this contest. Then we noticed that the technician noticed the machine running at night. Then asked the head of department. The head of department asked, "What are you trying to do?" "No, I'm trying to break. I want to attack system." Wow. There's so many things to say. He said, "I want to attack things. I want to hack into a system," or something like that. Oh, then go to the provost or whatever. Right? But actually, it's not. He just participates in contribute to this effort. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, 56 is broken. 56 is broken. Okay. There's another one. Is an AES. Because it's broken, we design AES. AES is designed post-Cold War. Okay, the war over already. Okay. Yeah, then the design is before September 11. Okay, so post-Cold War, before the terrorist hype of everything. So now it's more open-minded. The design of AES is done by the community. That means NIST announced to the whole world, we need an encryption scheme. Okay, please submit proposal. So a lot of research groups submit proposal. Then they took a few years. Okay, a few years to attack each other. Okay, they really attack each other. Go to conferences, say that, oh, I break this. Then after evaluation, there's a winner by Belgium. It's called Reindeer. Okay, and the winner is now what we call AES. Okay, AES has a broad length of 1 to 8. When I mention what it is, key length can be 128, 192, or 256. 256. There's no known attacks on AES. It's secure. Okay, right now. So this AES talk about later. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about something technical. No more story. Okay. AES, DES are what we call block cipher. Okay. They are designed to encrypt a fixed size ciphertext, plain text, fixed size. Okay, the size of AES is 128 bits. The block, there's one block. Okay, so AES when it's designed, okay, he will take in key of 3 possible length. Okay, but the input, the plain text, the input must be 128 bits. The output must be 128 bits. Okay, fine. So it's doing in some sense of commutation. Okay, of all the messages, 128 bits messages. Okay, it's clear, right? I'll say one more time. The size is fixed. Okay, you encrypt, you can encrypt a fixed size. Okay, the key size could be of these 3 possible choices. Fine. Okay, so they only design this. Okay, AES they only design this. Okay. Then now I have one movie, 10 megabyte or whatever. What should I do? Okay, then very simple, right? Knee-jerk reaction. Okay, just chop it to blocks. Okay, chop it to pieces and encrypt each pieces. Okay, I chop it to pieces. I have a very long plain text. Chop it to pieces. Every one chop it to blocks. Every block is 128 bits to block. Okay, then I encrypt it using the same key. Okay, so this we see in this picture. Okay, so this look innocent, it's okay. Okay, but then it's actually it's very insecure. It leaks a lot of information. Okay, so to see why, look at these pictures. Okay, this is a penguin. Okay, the next penguin. Let's assume that this is a big map messages. So every pixel, I believe everyone now should know what's a pixel. Right? Every pixel has 3 colors, right? 3 colors, RGB. Let's assume every pixel represented by 3 bytes. 3 bytes, right? Then I can divide it. Okay, somehow I divide one square here to be 1 block, 1 block, and 1 block, and so on. Right? So there's a penguin image. I divide it to pieces. Okay, every pieces is a 128 bits with 16 bytes. Somehow I divide it to 16 bytes, 16 bytes, 16 bytes, 16 bytes, 16 bytes. Okay, and then apply ECB, this electronic code book. Okay, if I apply it, encrypt it, this will be a ciphertext. Okay, can you see a penguin there? Yes. Okay, why is this so? Because you look at this. The background is all white. Okay, if the background is white, this block and this block will be the same. All the block will be the same. Okay, the value in the plain text. If they are the same, so is the what? So is the ciphertext. So right, this one is a deterministic algorithm. Whatever you throw in, it will come out. Okay, you throw in the same thing, come in, go in, the same thing will come out. Okay, so this is a deterministic encryption. Okay, so now, okay, although you go in, come out will be something else, but you know that they are the same. Okay, you don't know what is, but they are the same. Okay, so what attacker, when you attacker, you receive the ciphertext of this block, you know that you derive the information that these two are the same, although you do not know what is the value. Okay, the knowledge of these two are the same is useful. It's useful. Okay, so you can even visualize it in this case. Okay, and in some other cases, like in the voting or whatever, you encrypt yes and no. If it being encrypted, and even if you do not know what is the content, is fine, because if you receive the vote of everyone and the encrypted one, then you just count. Right, you know that this guy and this guy vote the same person, this guy and this guy vote the same person, although you don't know who you vote for. Right, so this is also useful information. Okay, so now, so that's a problem. Okay, we cannot just cut it into blocks. Okay. So the way to do it is to use something called mode of operation. Okay, there's a method to join them together. Wow, at this rate, I will not finish. Okay, you have to join them together. How do you join them together? There are many modes of operations. We'll cover two here. One is called CBC, cyber block chaining, and the other one is a counter mode. So this cyber block chaining, okay. This initial value I'll mention it later. Okay, you to encrypt something, choose some value, 128 bits, which is called initial value. We'll talk about it later. Okay. You choose an initial value, and this is a plain text, right? Divide into blocks. Okay. You take this initial value, XOR this one, okay, then encrypt it, you get the ciphertext. Okay, and the next block is being XOR with this ciphertext, this block. Okay, take this one, XOR, encrypt it, come out, pull up here, XOR, go down, go on, you can go forever. Okay. Then what is sent to the receiver or the whole ciphertext is beside this Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4 also include the what I call this IV. Okay, this whole thing is sent over. Okay, so this is not secret. Okay, this one will be sent in clear. Okay, to know why you have to send in clear, so that become an exercise. You try to decrypt it. Okay, you try to draw the equation. Okay, you found that without the IV, you're not able to decrypt. Okay, yeah. So it's very simple exercise. Okay, and yeah, correct. Okay. So this is a cyber block chaining, and then you can see that if it happens that these two blocks are the same, okay, like in the Penguin example, the ciphertext Y1 and Y2 will be different, or likely to be different. Okay, right? Yeah. So if these two are the same, these two likely to be different. Okay. So you will break this pattern in the memory. Okay. So this CBC mode. You think it's okay? Is this secure? Okay, look okay, right? Okay. But later on, there is some attack on this one. Okay, when you use in the particular scenario, okay, there is some attack on it. One is a padding oracle. The other one is called beast attacks. Okay, which we will not do in this class. Okay. The beast attack say that because this beast attack, this IV has to be chosen in a special way. Okay, and the vulnerability of this is actually due to the way of this, the way you link things together. Okay, link in another way, you may end up with different result. Okay, yeah. So this CBC, okay, and there's one counter mode, okay, which we are going to talk about it later, or which next slide, okay, is this counter mode. Do it this way. Likewise, you have an IV. We'll talk about it later. Let's take the IV, which is the some 128 bits, right? Then you treat this as a number. Then you can +1, +2, +3, +4, right? Just treat it as a number. Okay. So you +1 binary number, +1, +2, +3, +4. Okay. Then what we do is we encrypt this one using the key. We get something. We encrypt this, we get something. We encrypt this, we get something. We get a bit sequence. Okay. After we get a sequence, what do? We have the plain text, and then we just XOR it. We get the ciphertext. Very similar to one-time pad. Okay. You take this, treat this one as a key of the one-time pad, XOR with the plain text. Okay. So this one have a name called stream cipher. We are going to mention later. Okay, this have a name. It's called stream cipher. Okay. Why this? I can mention it right now. Okay. So one thing good about this is this one. Okay. Suppose I want to use this one. Okay. to encrypt my video, my video file. Okay, so I have a video coming, then I chop it into pieces, then I want to encrypt it, then it come in, then I have to XOR, encrypt, and submit. Because encryption takes some time. Okay, it takes some time. You do it one by one. Okay, encryption will take, let's say, 64 because it's a 64 round of permutation, substitution. Okay, so it will be a bit slow. Okay, so that means that when you have a video, you have to stream over. It's a real-time video, like talking over the phone, WhatsApp. Okay, right. So now it will take some time to a little bit delay. Okay, in encryption. Okay. For this version, one thing good about this is that before we receive the message, before we receive the video to be streamed across, I mean the computer, okay, can pre-compute this. Okay, we haven't seen the X1, X2 yet, right? But we compute it first. We first compute it, put it in the memory buffer or something else. Okay. Then when the message, the plaintext arrives, the only operation to do is to do what? To do a XOR. Okay, it's just do XOR. Okay, and you do it bit by bit. Okay, even the before one, you have to wait for the whole block. Okay, this one you can do it every bit. Okay, whatever bits you receive, you can XOR and send, XOR and send, XOR and send. Okay, very fast. Okay, very fast. Right? So real-time communication, for example, like you have a Wi-Fi connection to a router here and so on, all use stream cipher. That means if you are using AES, they are using counter mode. Okay, counter mode. Okay. In fact, all real-time communications, they use stream cipher. Okay, right? So what is a stream cipher? Okay, this is a stream cipher. Stream cipher. Okay. So let me describe stream cipher in their perspective. Okay. So what is stream cipher? You remember that we said that one-time pad is the best, unbreakable. Okay. But now we cannot have one-time pad because the key has to be very long. So stream cipher in a certain way is inspired by one-time pad. In stream cipher, the key is short. Okay, the cipher, the key has to be short. So what do? I take a very short key. Okay, go through some mechanism. Okay, it's the generator. Generate a very long sequence of keys. We call it pseudo-random sequence. A very long, arbitrary length, pseudo-random, group random. Then you use this one as the one-time pad key. Okay, to XOR with your plaintext together. Right. You look at this picture. Okay, where's that? This one. Okay, you take the key. Okay, generate a very long pseudo-random sequence. This one. Okay, and then XOR with the plaintext. Okay, so this sequence has to be like look random. That's right, but they are not random. They are not random. Why? Because they are generated from a short key. So they are not random, not truly random. Okay, so because they are not truly random, we call it pseudo random, something like artificial intelligence. Because they are not intelligent, right? Artificial pseudo. The proper name for AI should be pseudo intelligent. PA, not I, not AI, not PI. Okay, pseudo intelligent. Okay. So they are not. Okay. So these are basically stream cipher. Okay. And stream cipher always has an IV, okay, where it also appear in the CBC. Okay. So what is this IV? This IV stands for initial value. Okay. What the way they do it is like that. Okay. Instead of taking a secret key, generate the long sequence, pseudo-random sequence, you take the secret key and the IV to generate. Okay. I see the counter mode. Okay. Is the long pseudo-random sequence is not generated purely from the secret key. It's from the secret key plus the IV. How the IV chosen, we'll talk about it later. Usually it's just randomly chosen. Okay, put it there. Okay. And then the IV is sent in clear together with the ciphertext. Sent in clear. IV is sent in clear. So why the IV has to be sent in clear? Because for decryption, that guy need the IV to generate the pseudo-random sequence. Okay, no IV, he cannot generate. Okay, so we have one extra step, you put in the IV, we send it clear. Okay, then since send clear, why I need the IV? You send it clear already, right? So there's a reason for that. Okay, what is the reason for that? I think this picture will be very clear. Okay, this is an explain of what it is. Okay, how to get it? Do this picture. This is the suppose without IV. Suppose there's no IV. Okay, no IV, no initial value. From the secret key, you can generate a very long pseudo-random sequence like that. Okay, this is your plain text. This is another plain text. Okay, the key is to encrypt many plain text, right? The key is not to just use on only one plain text. Okay, so we'll use on many. Let's assume that plain text is a big map again. Okay, big map. Here I been using easy, just 0 mean black, 1 mean white, for example. Okay, so there's a zebra here. You represent the plain text, represent this image. You visualize like that. But actual plain text is a sequence. Right? This one I just organize it in 2D, represent as an image. So you take this, XOR this, you get U. Okay, and you take this, XOR this, you get V. Okay. Now the attacker will do this. Okay, they will XOR. Suppose the attacker, eavesdropper, manage to get U and V. Okay, you get U, have no idea what is this. You get V, have no idea what is this. But if he XOR these two, you will turn out to be the XOR of these two. Okay, if XOR these two, you get XOR of these two, which is this. And then look at that, can you see a zebra there? I think so, right? And you probably can see the word black and white. Okay, so why is this so? Okay, why my email come out? Okay, why is this so? Then go through some mathematics. Okay, very simple mathematics. Because you take the U is the encrypted, V is the encrypted ciphertext, right? You take these two XOR to them. This is X, XOR K, Y XOR K, then play around, shift around, then K XOR K, okay? K XOR K becomes 0 and then becomes X XOR Y. Okay, take a look at the, okay, cancel, the two secret key cancel each other. Okay. So now it's crucial. This one cannot be the same. This one cannot be the same for every plain text. So the way to fix it or patch or whatever is to do this. Okay, our engineer, computer science, like to patch thing. Okay, see something not working, then make some small changes. Okay, in English we say meow 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 meow. Okay, make some changes. Okay, so the small changes we make to this so that it works is to introduce a notion of IV. Okay, so to encrypt it, you take a secret key and a randomly chosen IV to generate this sequence. Okay, and this sequence. So for two different encryption, the IV, if the IV is different, this two is different. If this two is different, XOR then they get nothing. Okay, so this is important. Okay, this IV is important. Later on I talk about P4, a lot of implementation, even by Microsoft, make a mistake in how they choose the IV. They forget about IV. Okay, fine. So this done. Okay. In some sense, IV made an encryption probabilistics. Previously, encryption is a deterministics, and now become probabilistics. Okay. Fine. Any questions? No question, right? Okay. So I added this session. Okay. Originally, it doesn't have this session, but after the first lecture, I feel that everyone is enthusiastic and academically strong. Okay. So I added these two sessions. Okay. It was not there before that. Okay, this session. Okay. So I will give two examples of attacks, crypto attacks. Okay, attacks, example. Okay. First one is called meet in the middle attacks. Okay. It's not to be confused with another term called man in the middle. Man in the middle. Okay, it's called meet in the middle. DES is not secure because 56 bit. Okay, And we use exhaustive search, we can break it. Okay, this DES. The algorithm of DES is quite good. In fact, they believe that if it's 56 bit, the fastest way to exhaustive search it is actually 2 raised to the power of 55 and no more. Okay, there's some mistake there. You can improve it to 2 raised to the power of 55 instead of 56 for exhaustive search. Okay, that's 1 or 2 bit improvement, but it's still fine. Okay. So now I did mention it last week. If something is not secure, what is the way to do it to make it more secure? Do it 2 times. Do it 2 times, right? If this lock is not good, put 2 lock. Okay. So now, at that time, they know it's not secure. Okay, not secure. We do it 2 times or 3 times. Okay, and then maybe add some more thing. Why want to do it 2 times? Why not we just design a new one? Okay, first thing, design a new one will take some time, and second thing is that a lot of program already written, a lot of hardware already manufactured. Okay, encryption scheme is not only in the program, it is coded in the hardware like the phone or whatever. Where you have to do encryption very fast. It's done in the hardware. Doing the hardware, it takes a lot of time to design all this. Okay, so it takes a very long time to get the encryption scheme into the application. Okay, the process is very long. Okay, to get approval or whatever. Okay, so the easiest way is to reuse it, do it 2 times. Okay. Now, if you do it 2 times, it turns out that you do it 2 times, it's not secure. You have to do it 3 times. Okay, so that's strange. Okay, so why it's not secure? Now I'm going to describe this man in the middle. Okay, it's not secure against non-plain text attacks. Okay, introduced by Diffie and Hellman in 1977. They got their belated Turing Award, I think last year or 2 years ago. Okay, so RSA is 3%. Rivest, Shermel, and Edelman. Okay, they received their Turing Award by designing the RSA algorithm, public key cryptography. Okay, but indeed, the concept of having a public key cryptography is by Diffie and Hellman. Okay, so they come out with this concept, but they don't have a scheme. Okay, and they have also a lot of other contribution. Okay, so from that, the community recognized their contribution and award both of them Turing Awards. Okay, I think it's 2 years ago. I don't remember. 2 years. Okay. So now we assume attacker have a plain text and a ciphertext. Okay, and encryption is encrypted 2 times using 2 keys, 2 different keys. You take the plain text, encrypt, get the ciphertext. Attacker goal is to find this key, these 2 keys. How to find it? 56 bit, how to find it? Exhaustive search will be 112, not feasible. So do it in this way, meet in the middle. Okay, very simple. You take the plain text, okay, try all possible key, 2 raised to the power of 56, which is feasible. Okay, try all possible key, okay. Then you get this. To encrypt this one. Okay, the plain text encrypt, you get all the ciphertext here. Okay. Then you take the ciphertext, try all possible decryptions. Try all possible decryption. Okay, possible key for decryption. Try all possible key, decrypt it, you get all this. Okay. Because N and C is obtained by N through encryption 2 times, right? Okay, so suppose this is a real key, this is a correct key. So if we encrypt to C2, and then suppose the real key is a 2 and 6. 2 and 6, you encrypt, get this, and then encrypt 1 more time to get C, right? C is obtained from N by 2 encryption. Suppose the first key is 2, and the second key is 6. Okay, so you go to this path, encrypt, and then encrypt again to get C. for this to work, this M2 and C2 must be the same, right? That means that M2 and C2 is the same. Right, M2 and C2 is the same. Right? If 2 and 6 is the correct key, this C2 and M6 must be the same. Must be the same. Okay? Okay, this gives the attack. Okay? You do this, store in the big table, do this, store in big table, then search for intersection, common element. After common element is found, then we get the keys. Now you count the number of operations or search required. The way I count it, I don't count numbers, I count the number of encryption and number of decryption required. You count it, then this one will be 2 raised power k. This is the 2 raised power k. Total will be twice that. That means 2 raised power of k plus 1. 2 raised power raised k plus 1. Okay, fine. But there's a caveat here. You need to have a large hard disk to store all this. Okay, store this. How much storage you require? 2 raised power k plus 1 also. Fine. So you can do this, but you need a very large storage. Right? So a lot of attacks, okay, in crypto, it turns out that time is not a crucial one. It's the space, the storage. You don't have enough storage to store the things. Okay? So in that case, then we do some trade-off. Trade-off with time and space. Okay? So how do you do like that? You do it this way. Okay? Instead of attacks of 56 bits, let me pretend that I already know 3 bits here and 3 bits here. Okay, so you exhaustively search the 3 bits from here and 3 bits from here. Okay, over here I put it as S. Okay, in this example I exhaustively search. That means I assume that I already know 1 bit here. I already know 1 bit here. Okay. You know 1 bit here, 1 bit here, the time will be, the time and space will be smaller. Okay? This assuming you know some bits in here and some bits in here. But we doesn't know the bits, right? So what do? Then we exhaustively try all possible combination of this. Right? So now I do exhaustive search of the S bit, okay, and S bit of this, then carry out the previous. So by doing so, you add up, you calculate the time, you go back and calculate, okay, the time required. The time required will be more, okay, will be more. But the space required will be less. So in case that you can afford to use more time but you have no hard disk, then you use the trade-off. Okay, so this is a trade-off time and space. Fine? Okay, so done. To take a very quick 5 minutes break. Then, before that, it's just a simple story to tell. Okay. so what do we do? Then we use 3 encryption. We cannot do 2 encryption to be secure. Do 3 encryption. So you search around. Some of you may have known it. There's some standard called 3DES. 3DES. There are many forms. 3DES, TDES, TDEA, or what. Depends on how the 3 encryption is used. For example, you can encrypt 3 times. Okay, encrypt it is also considered 3 times. Okay, and using all different key or using the whatever and so on. There are many different versions. Okay, and they are considered secure. Actually, they are considered secure. Okay, in some sense, they are considered secure, and it's still in use. In Visa, I think last year they said that they are not going to use it already. It's more like a PR, back PR. Okay, I think they don't use it already. Visa, okay. Then Outlook also use it. Okay, fine. Okay, so take 5 minute breaks. Then we carry on for the next one. Okay, so these are the classes you can go to. Okay, you go to Luminous, you have the classes. You go to the room. Okay. So the next one, I will talk about padding oracle attacks. Okay. In the assignment, there's one assignment question is on padding oracle attacks, and to complete that assignment, likely that you don't have to know what is padding oracle attacks. You don't need to know the mechanism. Okay, you just downloaded some software and then you do it. So I think it's good that you know the internal mechanism. That's why I included it in. Second, these attacks demonstrate the notion of oracle. Okay, demonstrate. I think one there is a notion of oracle. Okay, so this is a screenshot from the movie Matrix. Have you watched Matrix? No, right? Okay, it's 1999. Okay, it's in the movie Matrix. Very interesting that there are a lot of notions like back door. Okay, there's a back door, but literally it's a door, back door. And there is oracle. There's oracle, who is this lady, who is very smart, who not very smart, who knowledgeable, know everything. Okay, if any question, you go to ask the oracle. Okay? The oracle here doesn't mean to the database oracle. Okay, database oracle, I believe they borrow the term from the crypto. This notion of oracle means that oracle is some entity who knows all the truth. Okay, and you just go to oracle to ask it. Okay, so this guy, this Hanson guy, will get some question from advice from the oracle. Okay. So in the security analysis, okay, it's important to formulate. I mentioned this before. Okay, stress it one more time. You want to analyze the system. Okay, security system. You analyze. You have to get a few formulation right. First is that you have to figure out what the attacker has. Okay, what is the attacker? What information he has? And then second one is what is the attacker goals? What he want to achieve? Okay, what he has and what he want to achieve. Okay, so we have to formulate it, state clearly. Okay, when you analyze system attacks. One type of information is that attacker may have access to a query answering system. The attacker may have access to a system. The attacker sends some message, some question, query there. Then the oracle will reply the answer. Okay, you can imagine that this not necessarily is must be a query answering. It could be some measurement. Or attacker make some measurement, make some probe, and then you get a measurement. Right? Attacker did not see the inside. Okay, this is a black box. You can't see what is happening inside, but you can send a query, get an answer, or make a probe, make a measurement, then get a value. Okay, so now in security we call this an oracle. Okay, the attacker have a plain text, the attacker have a ciphertext, and as an attacker have access to an oracle to do something. So this is what they have. Okay, for example, attacker could be the oracle could be what we call encryption oracle. Okay, which is very strange. Encryption oracle have a secret key inside. The attacker we cannot see the key, but when we send anything to him, he will encrypt it and send it back to me. Okay, so that means I can send and then he give. Okay, or it can be a decryption oracle. Okay, so example encryption oracle actually is in your pocket. Okay, your smart card. Okay, there's an decryption oracle here. Okay, there's a secret key inside. Okay, they don't tell you the secret key, but you're happy to encrypt anything for you. Okay, but you cannot provide both. You can either provide encrypt or decrypt. Cannot both. Right? Okay. So the attacker can send multiple query and adaptive query. Okay, they send one thing for one, and send one thing for one. This is called adaptive, or they can send in patch. They can only do it one time. All the query go there, then all the query come back. Okay. So some model limit the number of tries, some don't, and so on. So what is a padding oracle attack? Or padding oracle? Okay. The attacker have a ciphertext. Access to the so-called padding oracle. The attacker goal is to find the plain text. did not find the key. You just want to find the plain text. Okay, and the padding oracle will do this. Okay, when you send a query, you send a ciphertext to him. You just send a ciphertext to him. Okay, he will tell you whether the plain text format is correct. Okay, padding format, which I'm going to describe what is the padding format. He did not decrypt for you. He will just say yes if the plain text is in the correct padding format. No otherwise. Okay, fine. Okay, this is what an attacker have. Is that imagine you're an attacker. Okay, you have a ciphertext. Your goal is to find the plain text, and then you have access to an oracle. The oracle is happy to answer a question like for you. What is the question? You send a plain ciphertext. He will tell you. He will not tell you what is the plain text. He will just say, oh, the plain text follow the padding format. Okay or no? Okay. So what is a padding format? Okay, this is a padding format. What is a padding in the first place? Remember, AES is a block cipher. They encrypt in blocks of 128 bits. But if it is not 128 bits, what can we do? Right. So for example, if it is 200 bits, what can we do? Okay. For 200 bits, we break it to 2 blocks. Okay. Put it here, first 128 bits, the next 72 bits, and behind had to put something, right? What is those things that put behind? Then this will be the padding standard or format. What to put behind? Okay. So and then it's also important to note that there must be a way to indicate to the receiver how many is padded, right? So you receive a message, it can be padded here, it can be anywhere, right? So you need a way. You need a way to tell the decoder or receiver how many is over here. Okay, because to a computer, this is just a bit string, right? Just a binary string, right? Just all the bytes. How does he know where is n, right? So you need a way to tell that, and that is a representation or code encoding. Okay, job to do that. So next is a standard of padding. It's a standard. Okay, the standard. The details description is here. Okay, but I believe this example, this is very bad. This is more like explain by example or prove by example. Okay, I give an example. Hopefully you know the algorithm. Okay, the standard. Okay, it's this. Okay, suppose you have to pad 3 things. Okay, the data is this. Up the data from here up to here. Then I have to put in 3 more. What do I do it? Then the 3 bytes here will be 030303. Okay, so this is 8 bytes, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, how many? 2. Okay, AES is 16 bytes. Okay, here I did not draw until 16. Okay, I only draw 8 bytes. Okay, so you have to put in 3, you put 030303. You have to put in 1, you put 01. You have to put 2, you put 0202, 4 and so on. Okay, and now the question is, what if just nice, there's no padding? Then you're in trouble already. Okay, because the person who receives it, it may happen that the data have 01 behind, then the decoder thought that there's 1 pad, right? One thing being pad. Okay, so you're in trouble. Okay, so what you do? Okay, so now the standard says that if it's just nice, add 1 more blocks. Add 1 more blocks. You need to add 1 more blocks, and no choice. And the blocks is all zeros. Okay, this is what the standard says. Fine. Okay, so now imagine that you are the decoder. When you receive this, you are able to know how many bytes being padded, and then you can discard it for subsequent processing. Okay. So now what is the oracle? The oracle do this. Okay, oracle, you give him a ciphertext. Oracle decrypt it and check whether it's in this format. What are the things that's not in this format? For example, you have a 030305. Then it's not in the correct format. Right? The correct format must be 030303. If 030305, not in the correct format, then you say no. Okay? If it's 03003, you say yes. Can it be 0303030303? Yes. Okay, it can, but it must be 303. Fine. So now, one way is that you leave the class because you want to challenge, okay? Okay. You want to challenge to find out whether you can find out the attacks, okay? for the ASCVC. You look at ASCVC mode, ASCVC mode, okay? Imagine you are the attacker. You have all these resources, and you know that it's encrypted using ASCVC mode. Were you able to find out the plaintext? Okay, I give you 2 seconds to decide. Either you look at the slide I described to you, or you go back and think about it. Okay. In fact, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. Okay. How to do it? Again, I use example again. Okay. Let's consider a special case, so make it easy. Okay, so that I describe it easier. Suppose that it's 8 instead of 16. AES is 16 bytes. This one is 8 bytes. I draw 8 bytes only. And suppose that you are the attacker and you know that it's padded with 3. You know that it's 3. Padded with 3. Okay, suppose you know. That means that you as an attacker, you know the IV, because when you receive the ciphertext is the IV and the block. And assuming that this one is only one block, so very easy, right? So only one block of plaintext, ciphertext, and one block of IV. Okay, let me go back here. Right, this is CBC mode, right? So suppose it's only one block, so you cover this side, cover this side. What you receive as an attacker is this one and this one. Okay, attacker receive these two. Okay, attack receive these two, and you know that it's patterned with 3. So you know the last 3 is 03, 03, 03, but it doesn't know all this. Okay, so as an attacker, you know all the value here. All the value here, you know this 03, 03, 03, but not all this. Okay, I make it simple first. So we want to find the value of x5. Okay, just x5. Okay, so I'm an attacker. I want to ask the oracle so that I can get the value of x5. Okay, so how do I get the value of x5? Use this algorithm. Okay, this algorithm. So basically, you say that I try all possible values because x5 can be 0 to 255. x5 is 1 byte. 1 byte is 8 bits. 8 bits in the binary representation is 0 to 255. Okay, right? I treat the binary representation. So what the attack do is that take the IV. I think I have a, I don't know, correct, okay? Correct notation, okay? You take the IV, then where you have XOR with this, the T is this one, okay? And send this two to the oracle. Send it to oracle. This stands for concatenation, string concatenation, okay? Concatenate, okay? You put these two together, okay? Send it to oracle. If the oracle says yes, oh, you're very happy. You found the T. Okay? You found the value. The value is 04 XOR 4 T. Okay? Otherwise, you just loop it. Okay? Why is this so? Okay? You go back to here. Okay. This is a CBC mode, right? Okay? So this one is the IV, this one is the ciphertext. The plaintext is XOR with this IV, then go to encrypt. Okay? So we know that the plaintext ends with 030303. 0303. It's the correct format. Okay. So if you take the ciphertext here, go to Oracle, he says yes, correct format. So now, as an attacker, I modified the IV. Okay. So as to make it this part to be 04. Where should I do? 04, 04, 04, and 04. Okay, how do I make it to 04 for the first three? 07 XOR 03, 04. Because 07 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, 3 is 0, 1, 1. 7 is 3, 3, 1, right? Okay, 4, 1, 3, 1. 3 is 2, 1. Okay, you XOR them become 4. Okay, bitwise XOR. Right, 7 XOR 3, I think I'm correct. Okay, 7 XOR 3 will become 4. Okay, 4. Okay, so So in the INI here, I purposely make this to be 070707. I know that the encryption scheme will XOR this, okay, so that the thing that going to here is 04, okay, and then but then I do not know what is the next one, okay. So the next one, then so I guess, okay, where I want to make it to 4, okay. So I put some value here, and it get encrypted and then it decrypt. They get encrypted, okay. So I should show the decryption process actually. The decryption process, okay. You know the decryption process, okay. The decryption process, it will try to decrypt it, okay. If you decrypt it, you get 030303, and this is something else depending on what we put, depending on the value of t. You will get 040404 and get something else depending on the value of t, okay. If the value after XOR happen to be 04, then it's a correct format. If it's not 04, then it's not in the correct format. Okay, then from here, then we can guess the t, the value. Fine? Okay, so this is the Oracle attacks. Any questions? Okay, so likely many questions because this requires sit down, pen and pencil to go through. So I will double check whether my algorithm is correct. So I do it yesterday. Okay, I double check, make sure it's correct. Okay, so you use a pen and pencil to go through it, then you can see the why this is correct. Fine. Yeah. So this algorithm only find x5. Okay, we can extend it to find everything. Also, we assume that he knows the length, the number of things being had. Okay, you also can modify the algorithm, enhance it a little bit, and without this information, you can do it also. Okay, the attack is actually practical. Okay, maybe you have Oracle, right? Python Oracle, this is theoretical. Okay, it's practical because there are many protocol are interaction between multiple parties. Protocols. Okay, the step. Okay, the rule you state how multiple parties interact. This is called protocols. Okay, so many protocol between the client and server, they will perform this. Okay, the client will submit something. The client will submit a server text, and the server will do some action. Will reply say, oh, the reply to the client, the plain text is not in the correct format. Okay, he may even explicitly or indirectly. For example, if you submit something in the wrong format, the client may take longer time to reply, to go to the next step. Okay, oh, wrong, it's wrong, so he will do some action, right? So the server really directly say that the plain text is wrong, but by observing the behavior of the server, the client can infer whether the format is correct or wrong. Okay, fine, yeah. So this is a protocol. Okay, so suppose an attacker get a ciphertext, he intercept a ciphertext. Okay, he don't want to need to know the key, but he want to know the plain text. Now he can participate in the protocol as the client, right? He participate in the protocol, then he try to ask the server. Okay, the server become an oracle to him already, right? Python oracle, right? So he can use the server as an oracle, okay? Python oracle to carry out the attacks and find out the plain text. Fine. So this is practical. In fact, you go to the CVE. You remember what is CVE, right? Database. Then there's some list to say that, oh, this one is Python oracle, Python oracle. Okay. So okay, this one illustrate Oracle. Okay, it also illustrate a situation where the attacker has seemingly useless information. Okay, right? It is useless information attacker. Python Oracle. Okay, you see the useless information. Okay, but then there are ways to exploit. Okay, to squeeze the information and they can do something useful. Okay, There's another one is a interesting one is the beast attack. Okay, and okay, these are negative examples. Okay, I think the language did not say very clearly this negative example. In this case, the padding oracle is that somehow the designer used encryption to try to verify integrity, which is not supposed to. Okay, so he used encryption. He thought that encryption would be safe. Okay, he designed his own integrity check instead of later we're going to talk about MAC and things like that. Okay, in some sense, this one is doing an integrity check. And using an encryption to do a integrity check is a no-no. Okay, so you create problem. Okay, this issue will go away if you do not use CBC. Use something else. Okay, right? Oh, stay at this. Yeah, I'll take 20 minutes at most. Okay, to complete this. Okay, cryptography tip 4. So cryptography is designed to be secure, very smart people. But a lot of time, the way we use it is not secure because the way we use it and the way we implement it. So let me talk about some. One is a wrong choice of ID. We already know the importance of ID. Okay, it has to be different. Okay, so there's a read here. Okay, so there's one case in Microsoft Words to encrypt the file. Okay, use AES or whatever. Then you need the IV. Where do we get the IV? The IV is derived from the file name, the author name, and some metadata. Right? Okay. So now what is the problem with this? If you do that, if someone makes some modification on the file, the plain text will be different, but the IV is still the same. Okay, right? So imagine that there's a file, okay, Words documents, okay, and the IV derived from the file names, okay, and you encrypt it using string cipher. Okay, as I mentioned, most schemes use string cipher. Okay, then someone open the file, make some small changes, encrypt it again, then the IV will be still the same. Okay, using string cipher. Now imagine that attacker able to somehow get hold of these two ciphertexts before and after. He do an XOR, and he get the difference. Okay, you get the difference. Okay, the output. Okay, imagine this is a form. What is your age? What is your favorite K-pop? Okay, then you fill in my favorite K-pop is this. Okay, then you XOR that, then what you get will be my favorite K-pop is that something. Right after XOR. XOR get the difference. Okay, so this is Microsoft Words, and many more. Okay, many more. Okay, around this, the IV problem. We use the IV. Okay, using the same IV. The other one is I mentioned this just now. If you AES use under CBC mode, okay, there's an attack called beast attacks. Okay, then CBC mode is vulnerable to this. I forgot what is the proper name for this. This attack is a particular attack. Okay, to prevent this attacks, the IV has to be unpredictable. Okay, so you cannot choose IV like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because a lot of systems choose IV using a counter. For example, there's a network card. You want to encrypt your message, you will use IV 0, send. Then you increase to 1, encrypt, send. Increase to 1, so the IV will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, for different encryption. Many schemes do that. Okay, if you want to prevent this type of attacks, it cannot be predictable. Okay, when attacker see that 0, 1, 2, 3, he can guess the next one. So the best is to use randomly chosen. Okay. Reusing one-time packs. This is a story I tell for the World War I. Okay, so the Soviet Union reused the one-time pack. US know about it, then do something, then they get the plain text. Okay, these are many examples. You could click that similar example. Predictable secret generation. This is a tutorial. This is in a tutorial. And what is this about? When you want to write a games or simulation, you need a random number. Why? Because this guy walk here, then you have to sometimes you have to go left or go right, or then the attacks move, right? You need some randomness, right? So tutorial. So how do you get a random number? Then you need a random number. What do? You don't know how to get the right program. You need a random number. You don't know how to do it. Then you use Google. Okay, how to get a random number in Python? How to get a random number in C? Okay, then likely the thing that appear will be Stack Overflow. Okay, Stack Overflow they give you you choose a random number like that. Okay, so use those. The random number program likely to be, actually that one is in the tutorial. Okay, you look at it. Okay, usually you go to Stack Overflow, they'll say use the time as a seed and so on. Okay, these are random number for games. Okay, suppose you want to write a program for Marina Bay Sands, the casino. Okay, to generate the random number for the whatever big outcome. Okay, then you have to be very careful, right? Because if the attacker observe the way you generate, he may able to guess what is the next one. Okay, so you have to use secure random number generator. Okay. Same for the secret key and all this when you write a protocol. A lot of time when they need a key for the encryption, they did not choose the key using the secure random number generator. They choose it using this one we get from Stack Overflow. Okay, for games. Okay, so this is in the tutorial. We will discuss in the tutorial how to choose a secure random number generator. Okay, as a secret key. The third one, the pitfall. This one is very common also. A lot of people after they got a bachelor degree or whatever in security or whatever, wow, great. Okay, then started to design their own encryption scheme. Okay, so this is a no-no. Okay, do not design your own cipher, not even making small changes. Okay, so there's a protocol. You see, there's something counter there. What is this for? Okay, remove it. Okay, no. Okay, protocol say that do this, and you do this. Okay, no choice unless you know about it. Okay, so this one is just read a simple read. Someone complained about it. Don't rule your own cipher. So some blogger or something. Okay. He lists down 10. I think 10 or how many pitfall, and then number one is this one. Number one is this one. Common mistake. Okay. Okay. There's also something called Kerckhoff principle, okay, and obscurity. There are two ways to protect system, two principles. One way is called security through obscurity, means that you want to protect this system, don't tell people detail of this system. Okay? Alright, you don't like for example, like you go to an undergrad office. Excuse me, what type of, how is the exam mark calculated? Which system do you use? The guy will tell you, go away. What system will actually use to enter their mark? Okay, so this is protect by obscurity. Okay, we do not tell you, we hide the detail of the workflow, the system. Okay, the other one is another principle. It's called Kerckhoff. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Principle. He said that a system has to be secure if the underlying algorithm is known. Okay, then what you have to be kept secret is a very short piece of secret. The security rely on the confidentiality of a very short piece of secret, which we call secret key. Okay, that means that if the encryption scheme has to be known to everyone, the algorithm. Okay, but this one you say that no, the encryption scheme I don't tell anyone. Okay, so there are these two ways of doing it. Okay, so against obscurity, okay, we should not hide the system. Okay, these are two famous examples. One is RC4. RC4 stands for reverse cipher 4. Okay, if you look at the classical music, Mozart K555, Mozart 122. Mozart have so many pieces, right? The first pieces 001, 122, K something. Reverse, as a cryptographer, he also had many ciphers. So this is a 4, RC4. Okay, RC4, RC6, and so on. Okay, so RC4 was introduced. Okay, the algorithm is hide as a secret. how do you hide a secret? And this can be used because all this is embedded in the hardware. Okay, put in the hardware, don't tell you the secret, then release. But later on when it get very popular, somehow the algorithm being reviewed, posted in the mailing group. Last time they have all this problem. They post in the mailing group. Okay, either someone have reverse engineer or some insider or even Rivest himself post it and no one know. Okay, so it's posted. Okay, so algorithm will review. Okay? So we cannot rely the security on rely on the secrecy of the algorithms. Okay. The other one is a MiFi Classic, which is a smart card widely used. So they did not tell you people the algorithm. Okay, as I mentioned, just now I showed you a smart card. Okay, smart card, and then this one, right? This is a smart card. There's a chip there. There's a secret key hidden inside, and there's an encryption algorithm to hide the secret. Okay, they don't tell people, don't reveal the algorithm used. But when this get popular, the process get reverse engineered. Okay, and then later on, after the reverse engineer, they found that he used secret key of 48 bits. Okay, this one computer just any laptop will break. Exhaustive search will break it. Okay, so you can watch a video, and this is a MiFi version 1. What is this one? Okay, later they improve it called version 2. Okay, so what is the one you have in your student card? Version 1 or 2? Okay, you may shop it, version 1. Okay, so so don't think that this one is very secure. Okay, you can go download some software. Okay, go read all the information inside and modify it. Okay, and a few years ago, I don't know whether it changed already. One of students go to try the kopitiam. Okay, the card also version 1, and then he also tried. Okay, then he can reset his value. Then he claimed, he said, no, I only do it, I did not gain anything. He did not go and buy it again. He only showed that he can reset. Okay, so he get a kopitiam card, buy a coffee, then before that he read the value inside because he did not break it, he download the program. Okay, then break it, then buy it, then deduct already, then reset. Okay. This is wow, 13 years ago. Okay, not yet updated. This is terrible. Okay, but we still need obscurity. Okay, like just now what I said, it's not advisable to let people know your system. Okay, so it's also not advisable to let people know the program because there's something called side channel attacks. Okay. So now in these two, how do we balance? How do we choose? So in general, is this: your system has to be secure, even in the worst case where attacker know everything. Okay, but so the security rely on your source piece of secret. Okay, secret in the worst case. But of course, you don't tell people your algorithm as far as possible. Okay, fine. So this is the way to handle it. Fine. So in this module, during exam, midterm, or whatever, don't raise your hand and ask, does the attacker know the algorithm? In this module, we always assume the attacker know the algorithms. Okay, know the algorithms. Okay. The thing that's not known is the secret. Okay, so almost done. Some history. Okay, so you can leave you one. Okay, so cryptography is closely related to warfare. Okay, and track back to ancient Greece. So now it World War II become important. Why? As I mentioned, why? Because World War II people started to know radio. Right? They can send things over radio, over the air. Because send over the air, okay, it can be intercepted. We intercepted, then you have to encrypt. Okay. So this is the one designed by the German, Enigma, okay, which have a great influence to the design of modern cryptography. Enigma, this piece of machine, there is a keypad where you key in your plain text, okay, and there's a rotor, and the plug box where you set the secret key. There's also an IV where you turn by using this the IV. And to encrypt it, press it, suppose you encrypt A, press A, then the ciphertext will light up. You press V, it will light up. Okay? It seems like a substitution cipher, but it's not substitution cipher. Okay? Because every time you will change. Okay? So this is the Enigma. Then how to break it? Okay? How to break it? This is the time German already more or less control the mainland, left with the British, right? Okay, so then the US putting all the supply to the British, send all the raw material across the Atlantic, right? So now, what is the German solution to that? Using the so-called U-boat, submarine, okay? Submarine go to intercept, okay? Go to sink all the merchant ship, okay? And the instruction is sent over the air to the submarine, encrypted using Enigma. Okay, using Enigma encrypt, send the submarine. Okay, submarine will sometimes go up, receive, and go down and go. Okay, so now the airline want to decrypt it. How to decrypt it? They do not know the algorithms. They do not know algorithms. They know there's something called Enigma, but they don't know the algorithms. How do they get the algorithms? They need to get hold of this machine. Okay, so how do they get hold of this machine? They capture a U-boat. Okay, they saw a U-boat, they go capture. They capture a U-boat, and why they want to capture a U-boat? So much trouble just to get this machine. Just to get this machine. Okay. After they get the machine, they know the algorithms, they know all this. Okay. Then they try to break it. How do they break it? They do exhaustive search. So they build a machine like that. Okay? Do exhaustive search. But doing exhaustive search, you can calculate the possibility is not possible. And it turned out that there's some variability here. Okay? You can speed up the search. The variability is this. It's a mechanical, electrical thing. A cannot be encrypted to A. Okay, they know that A cannot be encrypted to A. Okay? Then based on this, there's some way then they do it. Then these are all the things we keep exhaustive search. Okay, so this is called bomb. Okay, this designed by Turing. Okay, Alan Turing. Okay, and okay, so now what? Later on, what pushed the design of electronic computer? In fact, this is the main reason, not for AI. Okay, why we want to invent computer? Because we want to break cipher. Okay, this one is purely mechanical. I want to do it. Okay. So this and modern cipher is as I said, DES, RC4, and A5. DES, as I said, invented and break. RC4 by reverse cipher, and is used in the Wi-Fi. Previously, when we want to connect to the Wi-Fi, that means at your home, your laptop, and the router, this communication had to be encrypted using a standard called WEP, Wired Equivalent Privacy. And WEP use RC4, and RC4 is not secure. They break it. Okay. And then in order to the improved version is called WPA, which is the version you use right now. And WPA is also not secure in certain way. If I have time, we'll go through it. Okay, it's still vulnerable to dictionary attacks. Okay, and then the newer version WPA2. Okay, enterprise version. Okay, fine. Yeah, I think the personal version is still vulnerable to dictionary attacks. And there's one about A5. I have it right here. A5 is used for your GSM. Okay, before the 4G and 3G, the GSM, encrypt the message. Okay, those things also not secure. Also believed to be intentionally designed to be not secure. Okay, easy to break. There's a rainbow table to break. Okay, so it's done. Okay, so this is a movie about the Alan Turing designed breaking the Enigma. Okay, but I was told that the movie say nothing about that. It's more about his romance life or something. Okay, this story is a fictional. Okay, this one is another movie. It's fictional. It's they capture the U-boat. They capture this movie capture U-boat. The real one is U-10, U-110. Okay, it's not U-57. Okay, for that, okay. Happy New Year, Chinese New Year. I'll see you in the tutorial. Okay?